Okay.
We'll do this.
Hello, everybody. This is Elizabeth Clare Brewington, and this is Elton.
Greetings, everybody. Good day to you. What a fine, lovely Friday. It's good to see you all. And we're so
Amen.
happy to have you with us.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, yes.
We are with Brightside Global Trade TV, and we love stories and lives, especially during the pandemic. We have done almost 80 events, and we've met some amazing people in this process. And this is a special interview because Elton and I like to review books and review things, and our magazine has grown because of our reviews. And so we are currently reviewing, and I say reviewing because this is a big book, and I think it's one of those lifetime books because you're going to be reading a lot of it over time. A journey of love, faith, strength, and determination. And I'm here with some of the authors and people behind this book. So I'm going to open the floor. We'll start with Chris
Well,
or start with Elton? Okay.
before we get into it, I realized after looking at the book that there must be some very, very rich and incredible experiences that have gone into the book that make it yours. And in relationship to that, what a wholesome opportunity it is for us to share it with our community and let people know about your experiences. And now, while we haven't had the privilege of going through deeply, but we will rely on you to help us do that and to explore with not noble perspectives and help us, engage and make the review so incredible. Now, typically what happens is we'll do an opening segment and then just for a few minutes, and then we'll come back after a break to do another portion of the review that way. And so with that, I want to welcome you all to being a part of this exploration. I feel like I'm on a camping trip or something.
We're going to go on a journey to
an exploration
Kenya.
to understanding all of your experiences. And, there you are. I mean, all your rich expressions, your smiles tell me that this is who you are. And, sometimes we reflect and it's not, it's encouraging and we need to find value in who we are because it drives us to who, the destiny of God wants us to be. And your experience is so incredible. And so we're excited. We're so happy to be here. So the title, A Journey, Love, Faith, Strength, and Determination. World State City Farm. Now that's saying a whole lot. So who would like to take the first bow? Maybe we just go clockwise. Chris, you want to break us in and bring us into,
Let me explain how the title came about.
Okay, very good, very good, very good, very good.
The title, the first part of the title is A Journey of Love, Faith, and Strength, was a research my sister Mary did, Mary Francis did with the cap on. And it was done back in the, I guess, the 83 time frame. And after I retired, I'm one who can't sit still. So I decided to just start doing, volunteering and doing a lot of stuff. Then friends used to say, hey, why don't you write a book? I said, me? Hey, I'm not writing a book. I don't think about a book. So anyway, I started writing some stuff down, but it wasn't about the family. It was just about me. I'm not an egotist, but I like to laugh at myself. So I started writing.
Right.
After I wrote about 200 pages, I decided that this is silly. Why are you so selfish? Why don't you ask the family to participate? Now, you can imagine being the 8 siblings, it was a little bit testy to get all of them to agree to write, particularly the older ones.
Yeah, I know how that is.
Yeah, and so, Chrissy is probably the shyest one here, but she's the one in parts of it. But after we got started, she became the glue behind the book, because academically, she's the smartest. And no question about that. But she's also a no nonsense person. So her humor is not going to be something you're going to be enticed to. You probably ask me to shut up. But when she says something, she means it, and she's not joking, and she's not pretending. She tells you just like she sees it. And so as a result, I asked Mary, could we just add another word to the title, determination, because that's really what the family, how we are and what we achieved was through determination. Because we started with zeros, a grain of sand, and I let the rest start from there.
Okay.
I didn't tell you what the title. So the footprints are the 14 kids. and the two largest sets of the parents. So we started from the farm, moved to the city, and then a lot of us traveled around the world and whatnot. So that's really, we couldn't put all those images there, so we just put words.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, wonderful. George, you want to say? I can't hear you, George. Take your mute off. Take your mute off.
You got it now?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Let me just say something about this book. I don't read a lot of books, right? But after reading this book, I mean, I think I read this before the pages. I read this book probably in about 2 weeks, I guess. And everything in this book is accurate, okay? Everything in this book is accurate. And then it brought back a lot of memories and things that I had never thought about. I learned a lot of stuff about my brothers and sisters that I had forgotten about, but when it came out in the book, it was actually true, and I remembered it. But one of the things that book really inspired me about, and people can change from one stage in life to another, is the fact that we were all born in the country on a farm, and I hate farming. And from the time I was I guess up until like 8 years old, all I remember was looking up the behind of a mule. We only had one mule. That's it. We only had one mule. And the thing about it, the mule was a female. And I always felt really bad that the female mule had to do all of the work. But the book is fascinating. And the other thing, one of the things I want to say about it also is my brother Grover, he always comes up with a lot of different things. He likes to, like I always say, if he keeps throwing stuff against the wall, something's gonna stick. Well, he's invested a lot of money in a lot of different little, I won't call them scheme, but the little get rich kind of things. But when he mentioned this to me, and the first thing I said, wow, this is interesting, because he's never stuck with anything. Like he'll hit something here, hit it there. But he stuck with it. And everything in this book is like, the thing that I get from it most is that even if it didn't sell, it would be a great history book for the family. And that's what that's what I really, like about the book. But I also think it'll sell too. but I like the fact that he stuck with this, and this is the first project, should I say, that he actually started, and he stuck with it, and he's still sticking with it. So that's my opening. And I'm number 10. I'm number 10 in the book. I'm number 10.
Okay, no problem.
You're number 10.
I guess you're going counterclockwise. So, Mary, you share with us. Now, I see in the book, we're going from the farm to the city to the state to the world. Mm-hmm. That's how I was reading it the other way. Yeah. But, because your origins are typically on the farm. So, wherever, come tell us, Mary. Tell us.
Well, the farming, for me, leaving the farm, I was so excited. I was just excited, but I had envisioned that the city would be something different. Being poor and living in poverty on the farm, my eyes was wide open to go into the big city. I just thought it was going to be pristine. When I got to the city, I couldn't even believe where I was. And I didn't know, or I thought about choices. Would I rather live in the city or go back to the country? I know that there's opportunities in the city other than being in the country. So we lived in the city, and I remember looking out the back door or the back window when we got to New Jersey, and I couldn't even imagine the trash that was on the sidewalks. Even though we were poor in the country, but we were clean. We swept the yards, we did everything we could to keep our property clean. So that's how I felt about the country. Now, getting back to this book, when I started the research for just for the family reunion, that's all I was thinking about. I wasn't thinking about anything else. And after the family reunion, Grover started questioning me about who is this and who is that. And I'm saying, didn't I give you the document? You should have it. Why are you calling me? Why are you asking me this? I had no idea that Grove was even thinking about writing a book, because that was not my intentions.
All right.
Wow.
All right. That's amazing. Good observations. They're very clear. And so, but the origin of the farm was where exactly?
Omaha, Georgia, near Fort Benning, Georgia.
Omaha, Georgia. Okay. And then Camden. Where's Camden?
Camden, New Jersey.
Right across
Camden, New Jersey.
Right across the river from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia.
Whoa.
Whoa.
So that was a huge shift from
Absolutely.
Georgia to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Whoa, you talk about big city. You're going from,
Big city,
you know,
big time.
the country to the city. That's a huge transition.
Absolutely.
My.
Yes.
Okay. Let Mary.
Yeah,
I mean, Chris.
Chris.
Come, Chris. Your time.
I don't know anything about the country. I don't know anything about Omaha, other than the fact that I visited once during a family reunion. And that made a lasting impression, so that I realized that I was extremely fortunate and blessed to have not been raised there.
Okay.
With regard to the book, major challenge for me was to get Grover to stop giving me more content. Every time I thought I was finished going through the documentation, he would add on more. And one of our major challenges was that we didn't have a sharing program at the time, early on. And so I would make edits, changes, and send them back to him. And he'd send me a totally new and different document. So we weren't on the same page at all.
Wow.
Well, so how did you get through it? Because that might explain the size of the book. It's a kind of a mesmeration of what you had read before and what had come later, and now seaming it all together into one collective story. And so amazing, as it were.
Yeah.
Now, well, I understand that there were 14 of you.
Yes.
And now here we are with the bounce back. You're the next era. And so is it that your other siblings have passed away, or they're probably just not here today, or whatever?
Well, there are 8 of us alive. Two oldest,
Okay, that's
the
good.
2 oldest female.
That's 4 here.
The 2 oldest female, which is Leola, number 1, and Rose, number 2. The 2 brothers next to them passed away, and then I have a brother who is younger than I, passed away. Then I have 2 sisters younger than I am, and they basically grew up with Chris.
Okay, so that means that you have to tell the story. You have to tell the story. You have to, state the facts, and as a legacy for the heritage of the future, and what it means to, and what it can resonate into. These are all important facts, all important aspects. So the Jacksons now, unlike the Jackson 5 also, but you're the Jacksons. And, it's a very popular name. And now the story of the Jacksons, as a matter of fact, coming through a farm era, 60 to 70% of African-American families have come through the farm. And while it's probably suggested that, farmers are some of the richest people in America, but it wouldn't probably suggest that, because many minority farmers have found it difficult to make an active living farming. But quite frankly, it's its own internal enterprise. You make enough money for food, or you raise your own food, and from the yearly crop, you buy all the things that you need to buy, and you take care of yourselves and each other until it's time, or it was in some eras, used to be time to go off to the military, to go off to college, and to go off into the world, where you now can make your own way that way. So, I mean, it's a rich heritage, and it speaks to an important fact about where we have come from a community. So, in saying that, you know, we've touched on your entry, and so we want to now discover.
Let me say something on that.
Okay.
What you just said would make a great book to read, but that's not reality from our upbringing.
Okay.
We barely had enough food to eat.
Okay.
And we
yes, you did. You still here. None of you starved. You look like you're pretty big boned.
Well, hey, Rockefeller almost got kicked out of a bit running for president by using that comment too about this lady. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember. You know, yeah. But look at you now. I mean, you know, when you think about that, and you may have been. Well, let me ask you this: did you ever miss a meal growing up on the farm?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There are
really?
chapters in the book that pretty much give you examples of when our family may have missed the big meals. I mean, I think they ate. I'm only saying this because I was the youngest and didn't experience the time in Omaha. But from the stories that I've heard over time, there were visits from ministers on a regular basis, and my family would house them.
Hey, Chrissy, he's a minister too, by the way, so be careful what you say about ministers.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true.
Hey, I'm doing my Sunday school lesson. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. You know, no, but let's have some fun here because I mean,
but before we,
so let me finish your story though. Finish your story.
Well, and again, you may be a minister, and I respect that, but I'm going from our.
That's okay. No, we're gonna have fun, and I'm gonna put it all in a good light.
Okay. Anyway, so they had traveling ministers in the time that they lived in Georgia, and in our family, the minister always ate first, and ate as much as he wanted to eat, and so the meals would be prepared in terms of what our family had to offer, and the minister got his full. And the children would sit around and wait till the minister was finished eating. And whatever was left over, they got to eat.
Right.
While food may have been available, it wasn't always available to them.
Oh, okay.
The chicken back, the chicken feet, and the chicken necks.
Right, I got you. That wasn't well, you know, in this community, our community, nothing was spared. Everything. I mean, that's where do you think chitlins came from? I mean, nothing was spared.
Yes.
I mean, now I'm a generation removed. My grandparents had 13 children, and my mother, this particular side of the family, you know, now my grandfather, he raised everything. And you know, he was also a minister, a preacher of sorts. I was telling a friend of mine recently, and we just celebrated his 130th birthday. Now he was and I'm gonna be quite frank with you, you know, and he was such a faith that at night he would go out on the porch and preach to the fireflies. He would preach to the fireflies. It was pitch black, and he be declaring God's presence and His faith. I mean, you know, and so, but as it were, you know, he was a fierce man, you know, and people feared him, but he was very solid, and he always sought a direction and a way. And so, I mean, and I know different states were to do different things. And when he went to buy the farm that we still have, he, oh man, and you know, I can't imagine, he was 60 years old and he went to buy the farm in a totally, you know, the county seat was completely white and racist, And he took my aunt's car with him to a county seat, and he paid for the farm. He brought the deed back, and he worked the farm at 60 years old. And, you know, and so, but the point being, it's meager beginnings can have incredible, transitions, incredible solutions. And so when I look at you and I just, your book is insightful and it's a collection of stories. Now, I can't wait to get into the stories. If there's some that you'd like to share with us.
Hold on, before we get there. So let's get into the book now. And I want to break this into 3 parts because this is just such a big book. So I'd like to start at the beginning. So tell us about your mother, 14 siblings. Wow. How her health, her condition, her story.
Tell her about it.
Tell us, So tell us where this began, and we'll break this interview into 3 or 4 parts.
And think about it from this point of view. Somewhere in America, there are kids who don't have the benefit of the stories that you have. And they may be homeless, they may be parentless, and they not have a perspective of their own futures. And so if there's something that you could add as an insight to help them forge through their trauma, forge through their trouble, to help you understand. Now, some of the things we may not understand back then versus now, but there must be a collective story that, maybe it was your parents' faith, and how long were your parents married, and those kind of things.
And they were in Kenya, and when did they come to the U.S.? So let's start with that, Joe.
They were never in Kenya. They were never in Kenya.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so tell us all about it.
Okay, Mary, you go ahead.
I think we need to establish, congratulations to your grandfather. We worked other people's land. We owned no land.
Okay.
We were sharecroppers. Have you ever heard of the word sharecroppers?
Yeah.
Definition of sharecroppers.
Yeah.
That's who we were. And we would work from sun up to sundown, and at the end of the year, there was no profit. We were lucky if we didn't owe the people we should work the land for.
Okay. Yeah, well, I understand that because my grandfather was a sharecropper from the age of 28 to 60 when he did make the purchase. And because there's no parallel to it. I'm going to tell you, and I'll be quite frank with you. My grandfather was looking for a way to make money.
Sure.
To make money. And so he found a way because he made friends with this, other farmer down the road. And this farmer during Prohibition was a bootlegger. And so to make extra money, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not turning no corners. He had to do what he had to do. And that's kind of how it was during that era, doing what you have to do to get over to the other side of things. And so as it were, farming was his business. He knew farming, and he just found a way to get an extra root into being able to buy a farm. Because, it's kind of like now, and it is probably like now, it's like the drug dealer now. Trying to make another way, but this was during the time that the legal laws were changing. But so as it were, moving through this whole heritage of time and the richness of how we have been able to come through to where we are today. It's a victorious transition. So
let's get back to the book. And chapter 1, the journey begins. So tell us about the story about your great-great-grandparents.
Mary, you want to do it? Or you want
me to? The story about my great-great.
How we found mom's parents and where dad's great-grandparents came from. Just basically how we got them. How you did the research and found where they came from.
Oh, basically, when my mother passed in 1984, she left 4 pages of history on each side of the family. And I took that, like 25 years later, and I researched it on Ancestry.com to figure out who these people were. I had heard of some of the names, but I never made the connection as to how we were related. I found that out when we had the family reunion. This is why I researched for the family reunion, because I wanted to find the connection between this cousin and that aunt or whatever. So that's basically how it started. Again, you know, my mother's side of the family, as I was researching, then I found who the slave owners were, which I never ever had heard the name or even thought that I would even find that information out. I never thought of it. I never even began to even think about researching, but to tell you the truth, it wasn't that hard to research the family, where we came from, and basically when I found out who these owners, slave owners were, we lived at less than about 5 miles from who owned our slave where we grew up.
Okay.
And a little bit more background on that. What Mary found out was my mom's parents, well, like she said, 5 miles from where we grew up. But the Creek Indians was very active in that area in 1827 or 16 until they got sent to Oklahoma. And they got along with the folks that had come over before the state became a state, before Georgia became a state. So the net of it was the Indians when they got upset, they would raid the farms. And so this one time, the Indian raided the farm, and he ran off to the courthouse. You see a picture in the book of the courthouse. And he took his slaves and his family. And in that process, and doing the research, we found out who he was, and who was the daughter at the time of the slave owner was my mother's great-grandfather's wife. So that's how we found them, how she found them, should I say. But it was basically the Indians and the whites was all intermingled back in those days, and a lot of stuff went on in terms of fighting with the whites, because they took the Indians' land. And the bottom line was, the law in Georgia said the Indians could live on the property, but they couldn't hold title to it. And that's why they fought.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But okay. Now this is interesting. That's interesting perspectives. And from the point of view of culture and that kind of thing, I mean, you've come through a huge divide. So what we want to do here, if we can, because we want to come back to talk about that and the issues of, you know, who owns the land, how they own the land. So we want to take a 60-second break, and we're gonna come back and resume discussions relevant to that. And so,
but before we go there, I have one question. So what prompted you to want to explore where you came from? So you guys were this wonderful family, and like what age, what prompted you
we'll come back
to do this research, and then we'll take a break and come back. What
Mary,
prompted this book?
This, so you're the one started it. I'm a sales guy, so I just follow her up.
Okay.
Mary can tell us.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You know, when after Roots in the 70s, I was so jealous that these people found their roots. And I had in the back of my mind that it would be really nice to know where we came from, because my parents never talked about it. My mother would throw out names. So I remember some of the names, but I did not know who these people were. Were they her grandmother, her great-grandmother? She would just throw out names of the earliest person that she could remember. And so after she passed and she left the information in the Bible, I just took it. I am not computer savvy. I had no idea that I was going to find anybody. But when I went upstairs one day, it was snowing, and I said to my husband, I'm going upstairs and I'm going to find my people. And that's how it happened. And the first name I put in, it popped up. I said, it can't be. It cannot be that easy. I don't believe that these are the people that I'm looking for. But it turned out that it was the people that I was looking for.
Wow, this is amazing. So we're going to take a break. And those of you who are watching this episode, we are with the authors of this amazing journey back in time into our present time, a journey of love, faith, strength, and determination, World State City Farm with the Jackson family. And we have 4 of the 14 siblings. We're enjoying this review, and you can watch us on YouTube on Brightside Global Trade TV. You can also see this on brightsideglobaltrade.org. So don't forget to subscribe so you can get the whole episode about this beautiful book. Now, if somebody wants to buy this book, where would they go?
They can, if you type it in the URL, it'll pop up either Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or almost any bookstore.
So this book is available almost anywhere, and
Yes.
I'd highly encourage it, especially for you if you're trying to trace your roots and you have family stories. And I think this is an amazing piece of work. So we highly recommend it. It's going to be on our list for our review, and a highly recommended book. So available everywhere. It's right there for you. And here we are with the Jackson family, Brightside Global Trade.
Okay. So